people, my name is Tijesunimi Olakojo, and I'm here with a very prominent black female creative in the art of Cardiff. I want you guys to help me welcome Sharonita Kostini. Now, there's something wonderful about Sharonita Kostini. She's a multidisciplinary artist. She's a photographer. She was an event planner. She's a stylist. She's the MD CEO of Kostini Style. She's the founder of Creative Plug Cymru. The arts go on and on and on and on and on. And I'm so honored to be a friend, and I'm here interviewing her. Guys, I need to take a deep breath because she's a very, very important person. Yes. So, welcome to my show.
Thank you very much, TJ, for having me.
Yeah, there's some questions I'd like to ask you, but before we go, we just need to really relax, get comfy here in front of people, and we need to make them understand the reason why we're doing this. My project in school, because I'm doing MA drama at the University of South Wales, my project in school is focused on the inclusion of monoracial black female actors in the UK industry and globally. So that's a big one. But right now, because you're an influencer that gives opportunities and creates opportunities and gives platforms for creatives like me and other creatives, especially black creatives, to flourish and express themselves, that's why I decided that, you know what, Sharon is going to be my guest today.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna drill you today. I'm so sorry. Thank you. So I have questions as regards, the functioning of black female creatives in the industry. And the first question I have for you today is, what is your mantra? What is your ethos? What keeps you going? What is your drive?
That's a big one. Why? What keeps me going? I think it's art, really, for the love of art. It's very simple, cliche, basically. You can even say it, but I just love art. So when I wake up every day, I want to create. I want to work with people who create. I dream of creating. Well, I can't remember my dreams, but I think I dream of creating. Okay? And it's just honestly to make more and more arts, whether it's events, whether it's exhibitions, whether it's me planning a photo shoot itself. I just never get bored being a creative.
Oh, thank you very much for that response. Okay, let's go on to the second question. What would you say your SWOT analysis is?
I think my biggest strength, I would say, is actually being a woman, to be honest, and obviously being a black woman, because most of my projects are focusing on colorism, women in general, and then black women. Just literally project that celebrate melanin, that we should be celebrated, we should be seen equal. Maybe some people might think, oh, that's a weakness because of as everyone knows, the arts and the fashion industry is male dominated. Well, I love being a woman because number one is the fact that I love working with women, so it's very easy for me to approach other women and they don't feel threatened. Like a few years ago, I used to do photo shoots in my kitchen and in my bedroom. Wow. Now it was going to be very awkward, I guess, if I was a man trying to approach a woman and tell her, hey, I don't have a studio. I wasn't blessed like now. I have this amazing gallery which we're in, and I can do photo shoots here, whenever I want. It was in my bedroom or in my kitchen. So it was so easy for me to approach women, for me to approach even underage. I was working with students, who were only 16, 17, as long as I have parental consent, to do a shoot with them. So that's one of my strengths. I think my weakness, I would say, is actually I'm too friendly, too kind. Yes, I know maybe it sounds a bit cliche again, who says they're too kind and too friendly, but everybody who knows me, including yourself, will say that. And I guess I share too much. Because unfortunately in this industry, it's just something I want to raise anyway, awareness of, people steal each other's ideas, people are too protective. And I just believe, because I'm so creative, I feel myself like I'm a fountain of creativity. You have the word fountain of youth, well, I call myself fountain of art. I never run out of ideas, so I don't mind sharing and also listening to other people's ideas so I can help.
Yeah.
And I think, that's my biggest weakness. I need to become a bit more maybe private a bit maybe more forward, and also perhaps learn how to say no.
That's a very good one. Learn how to say
no. So I'm not involved with 300 projects at once, but maybe one or two, or even just working on my own project.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, that's a very good one. What would you say the opportunities are as a Black female creative and as a freelancer? Because it's different. We're coming to the freelance funding bit, but yeah, we're going to get there. But what would you say that the advantages of being a Black female freelancer is in this industry?
I think, unfortunately, with me getting hired, I don't think the chances are many, unfortunately. Or if they hired me, it's always, I'll pay you with exposure. I don't need the exposure, okay? My bills didn't get paid with exposure. So I can't just call my landlady, listen, I'm exposed to your house.
Yeah.
So I think that's the issue. If it's for me to get hired from other people, I think it's very limited, I'll be very honest, no one has been racist to me on my face, like to tell me, like I don't like you. I mean, when I lived in Greece, I faced that, and I knew I could literally, put my hand in my heart and say, yes, people have been racist. But in the UK, I think the one thing I face is the fact that maybe racism is so subtle, it's almost feel like it's not there. It's that literally like cheeky slap on your cheeks that you don't even know if you want to say it's there or it's not there. But obviously, I know if I'm doing jobs other people are doing and I'm not getting paid, I'm not stupid. You can do one-to-one and think, okay, why is it when you come to me, you don't value my work, my skills?
Yeah.
But if somebody else was doing it from other nationality, don't want to specifically, pinpoint a British person. It could even be a Polish person, it could even be a Russian person, but Irish person, but that person get paid,
Yeah.
And then when it comes to me, exposure, our funding is little and all that. But when it comes to me working on my own, building my own project, there's a lot of potential. I can grow, I know that, because there's a huge demand for our community, Black, ethnic minority community, in fact. We're not even a minority, we're the majority, okay? Let me put that out there. They keep saying minority, we're not minorities, we're the majority. So let me put that out there. But as you mentioned, the funding, there's no funding. So unfortunately, when I'm working on my own, this is what I have to deal with. Am I going to be self-funded, and all that?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that. But the tricky question I have is, do you think Black female creative is given a job and a white female creative is given the same job, the pay is different?
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes
even influencers have said that. I'm not very familiar with the British influencers, but in America, Jackie Aina mentioned it, the whole thing when influencers meet and greet, in different brand events. That has been a conversation So
do you think, because the reason why I wanted to mention it and see it, do you see it as a threat? Because in the long run, you can't keep working for exposure. Who's going to pay your bills? You get tired. Does it create creative block, burnout? So can you just mention, say something in that light, that in the long run, does it even affect sustainability?
Yes, it affects your mental health. Because if you can't take care of yourself, and you're doing what you love, then you think you failed. But really, you haven't failed. It's just because of you're maybe the wrong time, wrong place, and also working with the wrong people. I'm sorry, but I have to say that, So this is why we also, as creative, we need to learn how to say no. Because when these big brands come, or organizations, whoever, or even it could even be an individual who wants to hire you for a project, but they're telling you because they have that power, that exposure, that authority, I don't want to pay you, but you borrow my audience, and sometimes it's like, calm down, you're not Naomi Campbell. Which I believe, even if Naomi Campbell hired me, I want to believe she would want to pay me, because she actually have the money then. So even if you were Naomi Campbell, I still need to pay my bills, Sorry, Naomi Campbell, we need that dollar, pounds.
Yeah, would you say that you are an early career, or you are an emerging, or you are fast rising? What stage of the creative industry
I am now? I think because I've been working creatively only for 2.5 years, I don't know, people probably see that as a beginner level, like you haven't even gone far yet. But the one thing people keep forgetting, I have been actively working for the 2.5 years, going 3, but it took me 7 years to develop myself. I'm almost 30 now. And I went to do my first art project was when I was 15. So really, if I think about, when I went into high school and I did graphic design, and from graphic design, I did a bit of architecture, and from there, I went into fashion promotion. It's been years, so don't just count, she only have 2-3 years experience. Think about my education, and then I was doing voluntary work experience, work placement, and it's just now that I've gone, I would say freelancing, for the past at least 2 years.
Yeah, we're gonna go to that. Like that freelancing is the arts one. Is the arts one? Is the arts gist? Thank you for the questions, for the answers. I mean, so another question I would ask is, on the scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate diversity and inclusion of Black female creatives in the industry?
I would say we are only on number 4.
Okay. that's a long work.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There's so much work to be done.
It's almost like on every cast, let's start with TV. You have 100 people on a show.
Yeah.
They will tick the box and have 2 Black people, 3. A man and a woman, maybe an older person, because now it's all about inclusivity, so they want to have an older person. So the older people are not saying we've been excluded.
Yeah.
And then from those 2 Black people, they'll make sure one of them is queer or gay, or so they can tick that box. So it's almost like it's always a box. Tick, 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 tick. Where does the tick stop?
Okay, another question. Would you say there is adequate and authentic representation of monoracial Black female creatives in the UK?
No.
Okay, why?
Well, because there's stereotypes, isn't it? There are loads of stereotypes.
What do you mean by stereotypes?
Well, the reason why you have one specific kind of Black females, which is most times, is always the mixed race, Black women and all that, mostly Caribbean or Jamaican, not so much African. And when I mean African as well, why don't we show the raw, authentic African without no mixed race in it, indigenous even, and all that. So unfortunately, there's not much. I mean, even those shows, Too Hot to Handle or whatever they show in, like,
Okay. Yeah, I think I watched Too Hot to Handle and I saw just one Black female, and I think they had to add her because she has a black skin, and that's another talk for another day, because the colorism in the industry is like, if you're not extremely Black like Lupita Nyong'o, or you're not white, close to being white, so they say we want to, because of your color, it's appealing to the screen, and you're in between like me and you, caramelly, is a problem, because they're like, where do you belong? Are you there or there? Are you Black? We
need to be able to tell if you're completely Black or
if you're mixed. So if you're not completely Black like the Lupitas and you're not mixed, you're nowhere. The stereotypes are like the extremely dark and the, thank you very much for that. Okay, this is another one. What are the musts in building a sustainable career in the industry?
I think I'll say, first of all, I want to thank my creative mind for never giving up. Let's go all Snoop Dogg. I want to thank myself for being amazing.
Yes.
Okay. And then I think my tenacity, consistency, motivation, because people don't realize the lack of funding, the lack of resources, getting paid. It kind of helps also having, that support system, whether it's family, friends, boss, mentors, and these things. People don't realize how important it is for a creative, but we really need that, because the burnout is real. The burnout is burning. The lack of funding is funding, It's lacking, actually. The lack of funding is lacking. So let me just emphasize that. So it's really, for me, what have kept me going is that never give up spirit, honestly. And I think it's a blessing and a curse, because it's almost like I don't know when to stop. I don't know when I'm burned out. I really don't know, because since I started, I have not stopped. Honestly, wow. I have not stopped.
Thank you very much for that. Whoa, we're getting into the hot. Okay. Given the instability of freelancing, how would you recommend surviving and thriving while building a career in this industry?
I think the one thing people don't like, the first thing I would say is get yourself a part-time job, okay? Be an adult. Get bills to pay. And we need to zoom when I say that, zoom on my face. You got bills to pay, okay? Forget about that rich bougie auntie, we're still rich and bougie. Forget about that influencer life, okay? Forget about I don't want to do 9 to 5. Girl, please, or boy, please, okay? Whatever you identify yourself as. You got bills to pay, you have to be an adult, except if you're rich. I mean, you're born into a rich family, then you're privileged, you know, you don't even have to listen to this past, skip. But if you're broke like me, okay, is getting a job. So one thing people don't even know, I have been working in McDonald's for the past 7 years as a part-time. I take time off, and the reason why I've stuck up with this company is because they allow me to book time off, like long period of time. I can take up to 3 months, up to 6 months even. So it's literally getting a part-time job. I mean, TJ, even like yourself, actresses and actors, I know they always do like bar jobs.
Yeah,
you know, they always have hobbies around. I've met quite creative actors, you know, who says, oh, I create flyers part-time, and I'm like, we what? You know, and all that. But yes, people do that. They work in retail.
Side hustles.
So you need to get a job. Yes. Now I am privileged. I even have not just one side job. I have 2. I work for McDonald's, as you know, and also No Fit States Circus, which is a creative job, and that's one of the most, how can I say, the nicest side job I've ever actually had. Is No Fit States. So as you know, No Fit States is a very creative company. First of all, it's a circus. So I love how they help kind of like for me to push my boundaries and think out of the box, you know, how I can merge maybe even fashion with circus or arts and all that. And yeah, it's the most enjoyable side job I've ever had.
So it's still in the arts and creative space, and that's where, you know, it keeps you going.
It keeps me going, yeah. And on top of it, let me just mention that the company is awesome to work for. Okay? Don't you all start applying there, okay?
Oh my God.
But it's an amazing company to work for. I'm really, really grateful to them.
Wow, thank you very much for that. Now, how do you juggle the 2? And now it's not 2 now, you are...
I got 3.
Because it's not even 3,
it's
because
5.
I know you've got the Creative Plug, you've got Kostini Style, you've got your website, you manage your website yourself right now.
Yeah.
You still do bit of graphics designing by the side, you do content creation, you work in McDonald's, you're in Norfolk State, you organize events for people, and you know, it's like, I'm even counting like 10 things now, and I'm sure it's more than 10. How do you balance everything?
Why do you say like that? I don't even know. I mean, at this point, I should be giving courses and classes for time management. It's organization. I don't even know. I feel like everything just intertwined. The only thing I will say that doesn't have anything to do with all what I'm doing is my McDonald's job, which is obviously food industry. But everything else, honestly, they just blend in. I'll be very honest. Like sometimes I'll have a shift in Norfolk States, and on my break in work, I might be editing a flyer. You know, or I might be planning an event, or I might be in uni, which I actually forgot to say. Also, I'm also a student. I'm still doing my masters, okay, which is finishing next year. In my uni, for example, even in class, I'll be honest, sometimes I build mood boards. Now I shouldn't say that because my lecturers do. I'm sorry, we're gonna pay the bills. Job needs to be done. So I do that, you know. I don't know how I do it, to be honest. I guess. It's just
do you have like priorities? Like, do you have like, okay, but do you have set goals? Do you have priorities? Do you have daily tasks?
I'll be lying if I said I did, okay? I don't want to sound like those motivational speakers. I wake up and I tell myself words of affirmations. No, I don't do that, you know. I just go with the flow. I have a routine that literally works for me.
Okay.
And I could say the routine is literally for Sharonita Kostini. That's it. It's probably not going to work for others.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people need to remember, that even when everything I'm saying here doesn't mean it's going to work for you, all the advice I give, all the things I'm saying, you know, find your own pace and just go with it, you know, and be yourself.
Do you recommend having a niche?
A niche?
Yeah.
I definitely believe yes, because even with my photography now, without wanting to do it intentionally, I realized that I have a niche in my photography. If you look at my work, it's mostly about women empowerment, mostly even dark-skinned women, you know. So whether I like it or not, I do have a theme going around.
So you're not like everywhere.
Yes, I used to when I started, but the more I work, the more I realized that You know, the ones where I really enjoy, you can tell. If you look at the pictures, you can actually tell. This one, she put out, you know, because she put her heart into it.
Yeah, the reason I asked that question is because, you know, as a creative mind, sometimes we have like, our minds are like buzzing with different ideas, and then
that's fine.
like sometimes you want to play the guitar, play the piano, sing, dance, act, and then you're like, I have all these talents, which one do I focus on? You know, and I can make money with all of them, but because of the instability of being a freelancer, they are all still freelance jobs, you know. So that's why I asked that. Do you reckon like, okay, focusing on something first and then building on it as you have your side hustle?
I think this goes back to the whole point of it's just different for everyone. I have met, like for example, I'm not a mom, I'm also a single lady, and I've always watched people who are married with kids. How do they do it? I follow some influencers who, they're influencers, obviously they're content creators, they're the editors of their videos, they're also moms, they'll have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, they'll have a husband, and then they have the business on the side, apart from the influencing. They'll also be running a fashion brand.
Some of them even have 9 to 5.
Yes, so I guess everybody's literally finding your own pace, you know. It's that spirit of not giving up, literally, you know. Don't try to be anybody else, you know. It's the same, literally, be yourself, everybody else is taken. Just find a way how to work and do things, because I'm exactly everything you just described. I do the magazine, I do the gallery, I do events, I do curating, I do photography, styling, makeup, content. And you know, somebody might be thinking, how do I do it? I literally don't have a program, I'll be very honest. I wake up on Monday morning and my day could go from planning an event to in the evening of me doing content for not even for myself, for another brand.
Wow.
You know, and that's not even how I planned it. So I just literally go with the flow, and I found that it works so well. I don't allow myself to be influenced. You cannot say you are without influence, but I just don't allow myself to be completely dragged into the whole trend. You know, everybody wants the influencer life. Nobody wants the 9 to 5 or the shady needs. Everybody got to be freelancer. You know, the 9 to 5 is not to be shamed because it keeps you responsible. You know, you have to sleep early, you have to wake up, you have to go to a boss, you have to work with certain people, you have to, you know, report to an employer who at the end of the month will pay your salary.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that. That's one. I want us to talk about the Creative Plug. So I know what the Creative Plug is, but I want us to hear from the horse's mouth. And then we'll find ways to navigate our questions from there. So, in your own words, as the founder of the Creative Plug, how would you describe the Creative Plug?
So our slogan is a space for creative by creatives, and the reason why we've made it that way is because the people itself who run this space, like myself and my colleague Joanne and Corbina, we're creatives. You know, we all have our own brands. So I have obviously Alienated magazine, which is, you know, under my name, and Sharonita Kostini, and then Joanne have Urban Stamp. So we want to show people that creative people can come together collectively and work building a community, a space, you know, a support system, you know, and all that. So it's literally a space for you to come in with your art, your project idea, your pitch proposal, and just tell us what you want to do. So we welcome everyone to come here. We also want people to know that this is a space for also ethnic minorities, Black creatives, who might feel like they haven't been given a platform in Cardiff for their work to be seen, for their voice to be heard, or just in general to be present, to just be, you know, with other like-minded people like themselves.
I love that. So the reason why I asked that question is because I want us to narrow it down to me being an actor now. So say I come and I'm an actor, I'm a Black female actor, and because of the opportunities are not so many in the film industry, I could start from theater, and then the Creative Plug is a space, you know. And of course, when you're doing presentation, performances, you need a space.
You need somewhere to practice.
You need somewhere to practice. You need somewhere to showcase your talent. So how does the Creative Plug, how can the Creative Plug help a Black female actor like me to showcase my talent?
Well, first of all, we have the space, and which we're in now. I think it looks amazing, not because of how I run it, It looks amazing even on camera. So the first thing is us offering you this space, supporting you. And obviously we charge a percentage and a fee. And I keep telling people we're not trying to become millionaires, okay, because we'll be charging £50 an hour, but we have ridiculous amounts, like only £10 an hour, £15, for this is for freelancers, like yourself. And if someone can pay, we also have the whole system of exchange services. So what we try and do is you use our space, and then maybe you can do 1 or 2 hours, help us to plan an event, or advise us on something we have to do.
Or collaborate projects.
Exactly. Which all organizations and other spaces in Cardiff will never offer you. Only one is the paper. You can't really blame them because at the end of the day, it's also a business. We also have a bit bills to pay, We have insurance, light bills, and all that, for it to operate. Another thing we also offer, apart from just a physical space for you to exist, is also advise you on your branding, content creation. Myself, I've filmed so many people doing events in here. In fact,
dance videos.
In fact, most of the events that have happened here, I'm the one who's behind the filming, in case they need someone to set up, tell them with the lighting. Because these are things people just think, oh, it's so easy, I can do it myself. But
you need a team.
It takes a whole team, That's why I call myself my own team. At this point, I should be calling myself the group. Now you have companies LTD group. Yeah, I should put my title like that. So we help them with content creation, editing, advice, even flyers. Because you're an actress, you're a creative, you're a freelancer, and you want to do an event. Some people don't even know where to start, how to create flyers. Well, we have our own in-house graphic designer. Ta-ta-ra! Miss Joanne from Ubenstam. She can always, advise you how to do it and all that. And the list literally goes on. And obviously just a support system, like how me and you are friends. So you're just having those people to call on, whenever you're down or you have a project you want to discuss with.
Yeah, so in case I have like a theatre show, I want to, this space is very good. Looking at it, it will be very good for immersive theatre or like a dance. It could even be like it depends on how, we utilize it and the creativity, the creative skills of...
This space always changes.
It's always changes.
Always. People don't recognize it. One day it looks like a boutique, the other day it looks like a gallery. Yeah. Another time it looks like a dance studio. Yeah. Because we also have AFJ Cardiff who actually do the dancing here every Tuesday. Yeah. In case you want to attend, by the way, look at me promoting them.
Yeah.
On Friday as well.
Yeah, so that's a very good one. Thank you for that. So, another question is, do you recommend being funded as a creative?
Well, definitely makes things a bit easier, but also there's a lot of restrictions with funding. I've never been funded privately, so the projects I've created in collaboration with organizations have been funded. Yes. Like Alienated magazine, Wales. But for example, the Creative Plug, we've never received any funding. We've received donations, and we also have a donation going on. Please, we're going to put the link of the donation under this video in case you guys want to support. We literally appreciate. So we've accepted donations, but it's nothing massive. I can't even tell you now. We've made up to £100 from donations.
Wow.
Okay, so we've been running since last year, October. So I guess we're still at starting. Yeah. But it really helps, because these little things like chairs, we are literally about to buy chairs now, and the cheapest one we found is £3 each. But it's still money, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you see the reason why we even charge a little fee from Creative, because we need to really keep this brand going, and it needs to be sustainable, because if it's constantly coming out from our pockets, that's when it's going to create, burnout. You're going to feel like you're not going anywhere, you're not doing anything, everybody's just taking, nobody's giving back. So when we take money, when we ask people to pay a certain percentage, it's literally to support the industry, support and create opportunities for more people. So when you go from here, leave us and you go your gig in London and God knows where else in the world, somebody else can step in and take the opportunity and be here. So it would be nice for us to be funded, but we haven't really accessed any funding yet. We don't even know how to do it, to be honest. I don't think I even have a team for that.
Okay, I wanted to talk about the Alienated magazine, and the reason is because I want to relate it to content creation and the Creative Plug Cymru, because the Creative Plug Cymru is a space where it welcomes everybody, especially Black minority ethnic groups, which is very good. So I know a bit about Alienated, but I see you as a person that want to front project that gives the voice to the voiceless, help to the helpless. And so what would you say Alienated magazine does? Like, what is the center of Alienated magazine?
So to begin with, you have the Creative Plug, which is a physical space. The Alienated magazine Wales is actually like a digital online space.
Great.
But also, we print magazine once a year and distribute it all around schools and mostly creative businesses to promote young people in Cardiff artwork.
Yeah.
So the slogan even is for the unseen and unheard, creative young minds in Wales.
Good.
Maybe I might not be so young myself, but what we try to do is every year we're also trying to feature at least maybe 4 or 6 artists who are over at least 25 to show their journey, their brands and all that, in collaboration maybe with even some young people's brands and all that. But it's literally a promotional platform for young people, and nobody needs to pay anything. All the young people who took part, including even the adults who have been featured in the magazine, nobody pays anything. It's all for free. The magazine itself used to be freely distributed, but now, unfortunately, because of lack of funding, we're not being funded anymore. Now the magazine is going to be sold. I don't know yet how much, because last year we were still on $9.99, but with everything being double up this year, we don't even know. We need to continue because the printing costs an arm and a leg for the magazine.
Wow. Why would you say do you think the funding for Alienated was stopped?
I don't have exact information, but one of the things I heard was on the grapevine was the fact that I know the Arts Council like funding new projects, and all that, and obviously Alienated magazine is now a brand, an independent brand, and it's a magazine, we can't keep changing it. Another things I heard was maybe it not being translated to Welsh, and all that. But what they haven't realized also, for me to translate to Welsh, I need to pay someone. Yeah. And most of the funding they give don't even cover that. So it's a bit hard, it's a bit tricky. I'm going to translate it into Welsh, but who's going to do that for free? It's a big magazine, Maybe the articles are little, but they pile up.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are the things. I mean, nothing is accurate, but these are the things I've heard from other people who have gotten their projects approved, and they've said.
Yeah, like you said, it can't keep changing. So do you think the Art Council is good with, start helping young people or organizations start a project, but they are not really good with the sustainability of that particular project?
I think so, but at the same time, I can't really blame them. The reason why, I guess every project needs to be sustainable, and unfortunately, the mistake we did was the fact that the magazine was even free. So it means all the time you have to rely on the Art Council or other funders, because the Art Council is not the only one, by the way. Our first funders wasn't even the Art Council; it was Minds Mental Health, and we also have, I think, Red Nose. I'm not really, I can't remember, but we had different funders, But the issue is the magazine was completely free. So when you're giving it free, obviously, and then the young people are not paying for anything, neither for the shoots, neither for the proofreading, writing, copy editing. The only person who really got paid was myself as the editor, because I was overseeing every detail, every project, and we're not talking about a huge salary, and obviously the graphic designer who put the whole magazine together, so it's not going to be sustainable if you have salaries coming out every month and then everything else is free. But now that's why we're changing it. It's going to take a time. I don't even know if we're going to have a 2023 Alienated magazine, because of all these things needs to be discussed back and forth with the people who are on board, mentors, I have, and because all the sponsors are gone, I'm now looking for new sponsors.
Thank you very much for being explicit about that.